Welcome back. Today we're diving deep, peeling back the layers on KJ's highly anticipated second book in the Beautiful Men series. This one's called The Chef. And this deep dive, it's really focused on, well, the surprising depth here. We're not just looking at a romance novel. We're exploring how it uses, the high-stakes world of fancy restaurants and modern dating to tackle something pretty heavy. The main character's intense struggle with depression. So our goal today is to unpack why this kind of story, focusing on healing, feels so relevant right now.
Yeah, it really sets itself apart straight away. It's not treating mental health like just another plot point you wrap up neatly at the end.
Right.
The whole story feels more like a meditation on, modern loneliness. And those silent battles, the unspoken stuff we often carry around. The research really shows that for Kevin, the protagonist, the actual physical acts of love and cooking become these essential lifelines.
And what jumped out at me immediately is what the author seems to be aiming for. She's not trying to write some perfect fantasy. The material makes it clear she's deliberately using vulnerability, even discomfort.
Right, that discomfort piece is key.
To argue that intimacy isn't about, peak performance or flawless moments. It's about showing up. Imperfect, maybe messy, and, willing to be fed literally and emotionally. Which feels pretty bold for romance, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So much of it aims for pure escape.
It really grounds the healing part in reality, I think. I mean, if you're struggling with depression, you're just not functioning perfectly. The book seems to insist that love has to meet you right there in that imperfect state.
Okay, so let's start with the setting then, because that really sets the stage for the emotional struggle. It unfolds in San Francisco, described in the research as a city of big success, but also this deep shared anonymity and constant digital clamor. There's this feeling of disconnection baked in before Kevin and Tammy even meet.
That backdrop is so crucial. Our material points out this paradox. Millions of people packed together, but feeling utterly alone. And that's where it hits home for a modern reader, I think.
Yeah, and the way depression is described here, I thought it was really sharp. The research calls it a thief of color and joy, but then says it's often hidden, camouflaged by the sheer pace of city life.
Exactly. The busyness becomes a mask.
Totally. Everyone's performing this busy, successful persona.
And that pressure to always be on, it pushes people towards temporary fixes, often digital ones. Where do we turn when we feel isolated?
The phone screen. Described as an anesthetic, like a powerful drug that numbs that immediate ache of being alone with endless scrolling.
Which, of course, only makes the solitude deeper in the end. It feeds that cycle where you desperately want real connection, and it feels almost impossible to find.
Yeah.
And that really shapes the digital dating world for both Kevin and Tammy.
Right, Kevin, the star chef, and Tammy, this super smart engineer turned product manager, both successful on paper. But they're stuck in what the research calls a mosaic of ultimately unfulfilling encounters online. And, we've all maybe felt that.
Oh, absolutely.
Those curated profiles, perfect photos, and then the actual meeting just fizzles. The real messy person shows up and it falls apart.
It's the modern condition, isn't it? Trying to find something real in a world that rewards performance. So the stage is perfectly set for a relationship that forces them both to drop the I'm fine act.
Yeah.
If this is romance, it's romance that says, okay, bring your baggage, put it right on the table.
And Kevin specifically.
Yeah.
Wow, he has a lot of baggage, and it's tied directly to who he is professionally. Yeah. Okay, let's shift to Kevin then. The title, The Chef, carries so much weight here. He's clearly talented running this high-profile place, but he's shown as stretched thin by ambition, scarred by personal failures, and trapped.
Trapped, yeah.
In the constant, exhausting performance that the culinary world demands.
And that professional pressure cooker, that's where his depression really seems to fester and grow. The material connects his current struggles directly back to past trauma. It's a really specific link between his job and his deepest pain.
The sources trace it way back. There's this moment from his childhood getting bullied when he was 10 for cooking.
Yeah.
Taunted with, look at Kevin, plain little housewife.
Ugh. And that moment, It's foundational. It basically weaponized his passion, didn't it? It made the very thing he loved feel inherently vulnerable, something to be ashamed of. His strength got twisted into a weakness.
And that early shame just got hammered home later by this huge public failure.
Yeah.
He had this scaldingly humiliating ridicule after losing a TV cooking show.
Oh, yeah.
Leading to headlines like, "The chef who cooked his own goose."
Yeah.
Imagine carrying that in a career built on reviews and public opinion.
It creates this awful, crippling cycle. Depression becomes this uninvited guest, as the research puts it. It makes just showing up in the kitchen feel like this Herculean effort.
Right.
When you're depressed, things like creativity, precision, passion, everything a chef needs, they get sabotaged. The research notes how the kitchen, which should be his sanctuary, becomes this silent, empty canvas when he's down. The vibrant color just drain out.
So how does he cope then?
Yeah.
When he can't even articulate what he's feeling?
Yeah.
The research suggests cooking itself becomes his only way to communicate.
Exactly. We see that food is never just food for Kevin. It's like a fundamental way he survives, finds comfort, maybe even finds a little salvation. When words fail him because of the anxiety or the depression, he cooks.
Wow.
The material puts it beautifully. His meals become confession without speaking, forgiveness without apology, hope without promise. It's his rawest language. He can't talk about the pain, but he can show care through a perfect dish.
It almost turns the kitchen into a kind of therapy space, doesn't it? But one where the stakes are incredibly high because his job depends on the quality of that therapy.
That'd be a great way to put it.
It's a really powerful way to frame mental health struggles within that kind of high-pressure world.
And it also gives Tammy, the other main character, this unique way into his world. She doesn't necessarily need him to spell out his depression at first. She can start to understand him through the food he offers her.
Which leads us right into the romance itself.
Mm-hmm.
Their relationship, Tammy and Kevin's, it isn't built on, snappy dialogue or perfect dates. It's built on sharing vulnerability and this very physical, tactile language of food. It feels deliberately.
Yeah.
Not like a fantasy.
Oh, absolutely. The author uses their meals together as these really meaningful moments for analysis. Just like Kevin's job, the relationship itself requires risk. The risk of under-seasoning, of burning, of failing to satisfy. They're learning to cook for each other, with each other, and that whole process is a metaphor for navigating risk in love.
Yeah. Can you give us an example, like a specific dish or moment where that symbolism really comes through?
Sure. One source highlights this simple potato leek soup they share. It seems really delicate, unassuming, right? But it holds the weight of unspoken anxieties. It's comfort food, but it demands a certain honesty. You can't hide bad technique or complicated feelings behind it. It's just pure nourishment.
And then later, when they start working together on more complex things, like a shrimp biryani, their rhythm in the kitchen reflects their growing connection outside it.
Exactly. It makes the kitchen feel less like his stressful workplace and more like a shared sanctuary.
A sanctuary, yeah.
It almost becomes spiritual. The research notes that cooking for someone else is seen as this divine language because it's an act of service, of preservation. The deep message in their relationship is to cook for another person is basically saying, I see you, I want you nourished, I want you here.
That focus on presence, on nourishment, instead of just excitement or performance, that feels really key for positioning this book for modern readers. People dealing with burnout, mental load, all that stuff.
It really shifts the focus of the romance, I think. The big question the book asks is, how do we show up for love when we are not whole ourselves? When you feel defined by your depression or anxiety, how do you even let someone into that fragile space?
And the answer isn't some magic wand waving the depression away. It's much more subtle, more real.
It's actually quite simple. Love doesn't demand perfection. It just demands presence. Kevin learns that these small, repeatable acts of creation, just getting back to the stove, even when he feels awful, can help keep the despair at bay. It's this affirmation that even tiny acts of self-care, especially when shared with someone who gets it, can start that healing process.
We mentioned earlier that KJ's style embraces vulnerability, embraces discomfort. Let's dig into that a bit more. Her deliberate approach. Why does this messy take on romance resonate now, when people often want that clean, happy ending?
Well, I think it's because modern readers are just tired of the flawless facade. KJ's style really connects with people navigating complicated lives. The author herself says she didn't set out to write a love story dressed in neat bells. Her goal was to write about longing raw, unfiltered, and humiliating. She's writing to reveal something true about being human, not just to flatter our idealized fantasies.
And we definitely saw that with her first book, The Dog Walker.
Yeah.
The reaction was strong. divided even.
Very strong. Yeah, I remember one reviewer called that protagonist absolutely nuts, found her attempts to connect just deeply uncomfortable, humiliating. But KJ seems to welcome that reaction. She argues the discomfort is the point. It's part of the art.
That's such a powerful claim, isn't it, for the literary value of the series.
Yeah.
By leaning into the cringe, she's actively pushing against those genre expectations of, perfectly likable, aspirational characters.
Exactly.
She's showing the raw, awkward, sometimes really ugly reality of trying to build a relationship when you're struggling with depression or anxiety.
And that validates the reader's own experience, doesn't it? If you've ever felt like you said the wrong thing, or maybe showed your feelings too much, or just generally failed at the whole curated dating game, this book says, yeah, I see that messy part, and that's where intimacy actually starts.
So the chef really builds on that. It insists intimacy is born right there in shared imperfection.
Yeah.
It feels perfectly positioned for readers who are navigating mental health issues, complex modern relationships, searching for meaning, and it delivers that core message. We are more than our wounds. The healing feels earned because they've genuinely gone through something difficult together.
Yeah, the book really carves out this interesting niche in contemporary romance. The happy ending isn't about erasing the struggle, it's about finding someone willing to stick with you through the struggle. It's just profoundly honest storytelling, using the beautiful language of food to explore the often difficult reality of depression.
So, thinking about the series as a whole.
Well, it really feels like a testament to the idea that healing doesn't always come from neat solutions.
Yeah.
Often it emerges right out of the chaos. It uses that physical, nurturing language of cooking, of food, to argue that real connection can overcome the kind of alienation we feel from burnout and digital life.
Yeah.
It validates wanting a love that doesn't just celebrate your shiny parts, but actually nourishes you through your weaknesses.
So here's a final thought for you, the listener, drawing from all this. If a story makes you squirm a bit, makes you feel that little pang of discomfort, maybe even recognition, could that actually be a sign of its honesty? Its humanity?
Interesting question.
Think about the stories that really stick with you. Are they the comfortable ones, the ones that tie everything up neatly? Or are they the ones that maybe push you a little, make you embrace the raw, sometimes cringy truth of real vulnerability? Something to chew on next time you're looking for a romance read. Thanks for diving deep with us today.